Jason Glynos, Department of Government, University of Essex. Well, I think especially in the context of the recent crisis, the question of populism is a massively important topic. And in a way, that's why I'm quite intrigued and very excited about the whole project on populismus. Because in a way, I think it's both ambitious in its scope, but also very significant. And I think it makes very clear there that while there have been many studies on populism, there are significant lacuna still remaining. And I think this is what's quite exciting. In fact, I think that the workshop now that is taking place is also very exciting, extremely well organized, but it's not just well organized. It has a certain energy, and there's a certain urgency that attaches to that, which I think, as I explained, is connected to the idea of the recent crisis. And that can manifest itself in many ways. I mean, it's very astonishing that we've come to this stage. There have been so many studies on populism, and still there are issues there about how we characterize populism. You know, the question of the criteria, which feeds into the question of the scope, and a whole bunch of very, very important questions linked to the question of the degree or kind. But I think that's, I'm hoping, is going to be a very important contribution of this program to the literature, to the, so I think it's definitely very, very ambitious, because you're looking at a whole range of populisms from the Americas, South America, North America, Europe, and conducting that in a very precise comparative dimension. I think it's ambitious also because it's not just the central importance of the topic, populism, which I think is, you know, incredibly current at the moment. In addition, you're bringing a very interesting perspective, and this is very unique. You know, the Essex School approach, I think, is absolutely central in trying to draw out some of these characteristics in the way we characterize populism. But what I especially like is that you are thinking about the Essex schools in very broad terms. So it's an organizing device that allows you to draw on a series of traditions within discourse analysis. And I note with special interest the corpus-driven type of research that is being conducted, or is going to be form one strand in this approach, as well as Foucauldian approaches, Foucauldian techniques and methods. And so using the, broadly speaking, logics Essex School approach is, I think, absolutely central in giving it a certain focus. There is the idea of the political dimension, the political logics, which is absolutely central to the logics approach as a whole, and that draws very explicitly from the Lacloian, Mouffian corpus. And I think it goes to several things. One of which is the central focus about characterization of populism leads to a very important question, which is, how do we think about the conditions under which populism emerges? And I think here the question of logics, political logics, and phantasmatic logics is absolutely central. But in addition to the conditions of the emergence of populism, we have also the conditions under which particular kinds of populism emerge. And I think this is absolutely central and a very important part of the project, as I see it, because it means that one can begin to think much more systematically about the role that affects play in characterizing populisms. And I know your own work, Glynos, is absolutely central in that regard, but again there, the role of fantasy and psychoanalytic theory is absolutely central. I think it's central also because, I mean, looking at this question of conditions of possibility, because it taps into the critical dimension also of the project, which again is quite an innovative and very important and significant aspect of the program as a whole. But as I say, I think all these make sense because they are organized around a central nodal point, this idea of the Essex school of discourse theory and discourse analysis. And I think that the way that you've managed to combine these different strands of discourse analysis within that nodal point, I think is both innovative and significant, and I am very optimistic that it's going to generate some very, very interesting results.